Okay, so now I want to teach you guys about a way to look at the economy as a whole in a snapshot using a very simple graph. This is another version, the version we're going to spend more time on, of the production possibilities curve. Sometimes it's called the production possibilities frontier. Some textbooks and economists use frontier. Traditionally, we say curve, but just so you know that they're interchangeable, okay? Now, as you've learned on a different video what capital and consumer goods are, they represent essentially all the goods that we can produce in America, okay? So let's say we have capital here on the X and consumer on the Y. It truly doesn't matter which one goes where. And again, we have our curve, and we'll just use this curve number 1 here. And you can see there's points A, points B, and points C on this curve. This represents, again, the maximum amount of production that we can make in our country or state or whichever economy you're looking at using the resources that we have. So this line here, line 1, this entire line, we're going to call line 1, it represents the maximum amount that we can produce. So if we're at point A, point B, or point C, it doesn't matter. All three of those are 100% efficient. Everyone's working. All the machines are turned on. All the factories are turned on. All the combines are plowing up stuff. Everybody's got a job. Everybody's working. It can't get better. It's perfect. Well, it's perfect in the sense that everybody has a job and everybody's producing something. It's not perfect necessarily because maybe we don't want to produce what we're producing. Nonetheless, it's producing everything. Okay, so A, B, and C are all just different choices that our economy is making, but they're all efficient. Now you might say, which one is better, A, B, or C? Well, it just depends. Now, at point A, we're going to be making a lot more consumer goods, and point C, we're making a lot more capital goods. Well, obviously, one of these is going to help us produce more goods in the future. Consumer goods, once you buy it, like this shirt or this hat, we're done. It's done. It's done making stuff. Capital goods, whether it's a bulldozer or a combine or a tractor or an industrial oven, those things will continue to produce stuff, which means the more capital goods that we make, the better for our economy down the line. When we get to GDP stuff in macro, we talk about capital goods being called investment goods or capital investments, we call them. And usually we can tell if an economy is going to be doing well in the future if our capital investments are high. Okay, so this is what this curve looks like. And if we want to produce more capital goods, that will give us the ability to make more goods in the future. What does America make more of? Well, we don't make very many consumer goods, T-shirts, hats, iPhone, whatever. We tend to have that stuff made elsewhere because it's cheaper, because of cheaper labor, and it allows us to use our resources to make what we're good at. And capital goods is a better investment for us to make, right? The goods are more expensive. They tend to produce jobs that pay more money, so that's what we tend to put our money in. So a lot of people want to complain that we, put our consumer manufacturing off in other countries, but there is a real benefit to doing that. I mean, there's problems too, but there also is a real benefit. So, well, let's look at point X. Well, what's up with point X? Because it's not on the line. What that means is, if we're producing at point X, that means bad things are happening. That means we're not using all of our resources. Point X, we would call, and you've heard this term probably, we would call point X recessionary. Looking at this graph, if we're producing anywhere inside this curve, we are on some level not using all of our resources, and we can call that a recessionary point. It's what a recession is certainly more complex than just a point inside the production possibilities curve, but it is an example of the fact that we are not using all of our resources. It's more complex than are we in recession or are we not in recession, but a recessionary point can be a point inside the production possibilities curve, and it's a point that we don't want to produce at. We want to produce somewhere on the curve, okay? So I'm going to stop this video here in a second and come back to it when we talk about economic growth. but I want you guys to see in this first 5.5 minutes that this curve represents pure efficiency and the most we can possibly produce using the resources that we have. That point X is recessionary, and point Z way out here, at our current level of output, Z is impossible. We don't have enough resources used in the right way to even to produce all the way out here. We can't do it yet. We can, and I'll show you how, but we can't get there yet. So X, we're not using our resources. A, B, and C, we're using all of our resources, just in different ways. C will give us more output later because we're producing more capital goods. And currently, we don't have enough to produce point Z, but we hope to in the future by expanding our production possibilities curve or production possibilities frontier.